It is December 2023. Wow. This is the December 2023 Satsang. I am that I am, Sarah of Sovereign Mind and Biological Autonomy. We'll talk more about that today. And I am joined with, drum roll always, for Kuthumi. Oh, the Ascended Master who stayed on Earth for 24 years after realization. Oh, I could talk so much about that. I'm entering year seven of sharing with you all. I'm gonna check my volume here. Yep. Entering year 7 of sharing with you all, and year 7 after realization. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy to think that I began my YouTube channel and wrote my book, my first book, Becoming Sarah, in 2016. And then I had my realization and I shut everything down. I didn't tell anyone about my realization and I shut my business down because it's so counterintuitive now. I shut my business down because I was realized and I didn't want to tell anybody and I didn't want to teach it to anybody. Prior to that, I was sharing and teaching from a space of connecting with the soul. My ideas about the soul have completely changed. But now I actually have an experience to share. So it's just kind of funny thinking back. Anyhow, if you've been with us for the last 7 years, I just want to say thank you. Oh my God, so much growth has happened and there's so much growth to come. You do not have everything figured out the day after your realization. You start like a baby all over again, back in the diapers, learning how new energy works. So this year, Katumi's like, get on with it. Stop with the reflection. This year we did Playing in the Peas in 2023. That was our series. And so you have a whole year of Playing in the Peas in 2023 videos that you can look at any time. They are free to you and with the support of donors, patrons, exchangers, everybody who keeps this space above water or underwater. Thank you so much. So our next series in 2024, 2024, going from 2 to 4. Kutumi's favorite story. Once upon a time, there was a 2, and the 2 became a 4. I won't tell the Kuthumi stories. They always start with once upon a time. So we're going to enter into the Anatomy of Light series next year, and we'll be posting those publicly. The deeper dives will happen in our intimate gatherings online. I'll talk more about that. But the big broad strokes of the Anatomy of Light will come to you in video form. If you're a YouTube newsletter subscriber or on Patreon, where we have 58 beautiful beings playing with us there, supporting us energetically and consciously. New energy support right there. You know, Kuthumi is encouraging me to do more social media. I thought I was on vacation and I am not. And some of it's my social media, some of it's Kuthumi's social media, and it's just all kind of just like our channel. There's Kuthumi, there's me, and there's you, the beings who are here on beautiful Earth right now in a body. But he had me look up a few things to make some YouTube shorts. They have to be a minute or less for us to retain our YouTube status next year. We need 3 of those. So I've been working on them and Aaliyah's been working on them and we'll be posting them. But one of the shorts we did was from January 2021 Satsang, January 2021. And Kuthumi talks about a big gateway that's coming to Earth in 2023, a gateway that will bring energy and consciousness together right? Into new energy or Christ consciousness, same thing, two different terms for the same phenomena, that is energy and consciousness coalescing as one, creating new energy. It's free and it's all yours. We've written a lot about it. New Energy Creator, which began in 2016. The website began in 2016, the YouTube channel. I began my public shares in 2016, and I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've done a lot of good things too. And I've received a lot of praise and a lot of criticism. And, it all goes down the same tube, whether your food tastes good or it doesn't taste good, depending on your preference, your likes and dislikes, it all goes down the same tube. So here we are. I'm a little wiser. I'm a little more fully formed in the last 7 years, but I don't think it ever ends. I look at the beings who are here in their embodied enlightenment, who've been here a while. Sadhguru, who I read his book, Inner Engineering, and I quite loved it. It was very good into the new energy dynamics. He's been on Earth he just had his 40th anniversary of his enlightenment, 40th. And if I have learned this much in 7 years or 6, I guess I'm entering the 7th year, but it's been 6 years since I met God and realized I was that. So much has changed, and I can't imagine how different I'll be at year 40. It's incredible. It's never ending, the changes, adaptations of this biology. And it's beautifully brutal and beautifully messy and beautifully new. It's just new. It's actual new, not more of energy being rearranged in this finite screen that is relative reality, but being able to experience absolute reality, the infinite, which includes the relative reality, horizontal and vertical, which we talked a lot about last year. We talked a lot about the horizontal and the vertical, especially in this gateway, the passageways to all of creation opening up in 2023. So Kuthumi's usually spot on about things. And so pulling out that highlighted video of Kuthumi talking about, hey, this is coming in 2023, let's get ready. We did a lot of work alone together as a sovereign collective. We did the Rhythm of Further series, which was completely designed to support. It started in January 2023, and it went to for 6 months, and we did 6 passageways to open up this gateway. All the passageways in all of creation, when we open them up, it makes this giant gateway that some people call Heaven's Cross. And so you're on the time and space horizontal axes, and then you have the vertical. We also explored through our divine blueprint materials, the intersections between horizontal and vertical in all our lifetimes. So this is what's next. What the hell is next, Kuthumi? What the hell is next, dear Sarah? We are doing the anatomy of light. We are doing a new thing. This series is brought to you by myself, Kuthumi, and you, beautiful being who's right here on Earth. What a miracle it is that you are on Earth right now at this beautiful time, in the apocalypse, in the opening up, the gateway for the Christ consciousness to come to Earth first and spread throughout all of creation. Less question and answer and battling, and more doing the joy work, All right, so let's get going in our slides. Here we go. We just finished about a week ago. We finished this event called Take a Walk on Theos. I can't not smile at this photo. Take a Walk on Theos, the Anatomy of Light event. This happened in the Villa Usara or Casa Nueva Vida, which I currently believe I own in Mexico. And it's just so when I'm not there, it's like, does it exist when I'm not there? That's why I'm saying this. We held an event, and the premise was, Kuthumi said, we're going to reality create. We're going to create this new earth called Theos, which is already existing in a very high potential form, right? But he's talking about bringing it into particle matter, right? And we can't reality create until we understand the anatomy of light. So Kuthumi and I walked with, co-created with these 5 beautiful beings. Oh my God, can you see the smiles? This is after one of the session, and the review says it didn't suck. I'm kidding. No one wrote that review, but I was like, you can look at this picture and realize it didn't suck. We didn't suck. So what we did before the Rhythm of Further to support that passageway opening to all of creation in 2023 is we had another event in Mexico, and we did 6 passageways, and there were 6 people, and each person got a passageway. In this one, there were 5 people, and each person got a body part of the magus. We did the mind of the magus, the heart, the spine, the nervous system, and the feet. So each day that we gathered together, we went through each of them. If you're on our Patreon page, I did put up some of the mind of the magus materials for subscribers. For anybody who paid anything, I put it up for you. Thank you. $5 or more per month really helps us out, and I really appreciate you. So guys, so I put the anatomy of light materials. It's in a 40-minute video. It's story time with Kuthumi and myself. We put that up, the mind of the magus, right? So I just want to honor these beautiful people: Nancy, Keiko, Irene, or Irina, Corinne, and Jeannie. I've known all these beautiful beings for many years. They've been helping co-create the materials for many years. And so to spend a week with them in the wild jungle of Mexico was incredible. We cried, we laughed, we ate, we drank, we biked, we surfed, we swam, we cried, we laughed. Oh, it was so many things all together, all at once. Oh, very multi-dimensional for all of us who are very, I don't want to say complex beings, but very multifaceted beings. So here's some photos. I'm getting lost in being back there. Here is on the left is us taking a walk, and as we were walking, we were observing the layers of reality creation here on Earth, so we can bring that to this new Earth called Theos. To get to Theos, you have to be fully embodied in your biological body in this life. It's not like a test or anything. It's just a place for us it's a new playground. That's what it is. So we did that, and you have a picture of our bikes. Raul, who is the property manager of our house in Mexico, got everybody a bike. It's not like there's a bike rental company on the side of the road. No, he was driving around grabbing bikes from the village, enough for us to ride. And it all comes together. And then below is a photo of us at dinner, which obviously everyone was having a terrible time. No, we had a blast. I mean, wow. All right. So here we are again. So I want to point out that as we move into 2024, what are Kuthumi and I offering that's different from somewhere else? What's different than somewhere else? And we include all, because we are a universal approach to embodied enlightenment. We offer a completely biocentric. And I talk a lot about that. I write about it in the Divine Blueprint materials. I wrote about it all year long, and I talked about it in the Playing in the Peas video all year long, in case you missed those. We offer a completely biocentric, life-based approach to embodied enlightenment. What Kuthumi and I offer here, what makes us different from the rest of the offerings that you might find on your favorite YouTube channel, is that we offer a completely biocentric, life-based approach to embodied enlightenment. Embodied body enlightenment. Kuthumi and I are very, very big proponents. We're champions of restoring the relevance and importance of the body as the central vessel for the expression experience of enlightenment. So Kuthumi and I have a deep passion for bringing the biology back into this experience, into the embodied enlightenment experience, because of our history in Atlantis. Kuthumi and I both felt responsible at some point at some junctures in our divine blueprint where the electromagnetic grids intersect, and some of the intersections of our electromagnetic grids of our divine blueprint. Notice I didn't say past lives or old wounds or, aspects. I said in some intersections of the electromagnetic grids of our divine blueprint, Kuthumi and I feel responsible for the creation of this standardized biology and the prison it has created for humanity. Some imprints, Kuthumi and I have felt responsible for closing the doorways to all of creation and the flood in Atlantis that happened at the same time, and the unintended consequences of what happened in the near Earth realms and to the reincarnation cycle. We felt a little responsible in those parts of our divine blueprint intersections, energetic imprints, also called lifetimes. And we took those wounds and turned them into what Kuthumi and I call vulnerability. Instead of it being a wound, I did this. Oh, I got to make it right. I did this and I hurt people and I got to make it right. We allowed seeds, mustard seeds, to grow in the soil of those wounds and to bloom. The mustard plant grows. The tiniest of all seeds makes the biggest of all plants. And those seeds have sprouted in the wounds, and now it's our vulnerability. Kuthumi calls vulnerability the ability to create, right? You have to be vulnerable to have the ability to create. Vulnerability to create. So we'll talk more about that. We also have more on our Patreon page about that. So that's really what Kuthumi and I offer. It's what we did in this event. Everybody here in their body. We're humans on Earth, divine beings in a human body on Earth. And as we know that, the consciousness and the energy coalesce in the physical form, creating a new human species. No big deal, just a new human species. We haven't changed the species in some, 10,000, 12,000 years. I don't know if that's right or not. I'm just making something up. Kuthumi's like 12,000. That sounds good. Anyhow, since the fall of Atlantis, we have not upgraded much, maybe a little few adaptations here and there, the standardized human form. So this is setting up the stage for what Earth's multiple will look like. Earth's realities, plural, will look like beyond Heaven's Cross in 2023. You think the work's done? It's never done. It becomes your joy, and then it becomes something new, and then it becomes something new, because that's how new energy works. It doesn't meet an arrival point and stagnate. I reach my realization, I'm just going to stay here, and then it becomes something new, and then it becomes something new, and then you enjoy an arrival point until it becomes something new. The other night, oh man, look at all these beautiful people. I'm going to tell that other story another time, but this was after a bike ride. All right, let's go to the next one. So we did bikes, and Miss Irene did stand-up paddleboarding, and I also got a nice shot of her walking into new life. I love that. So this is just a few pictures. Off we go. Kuthumi captioned these, by the way. Corny Kuthumi humor. This is the take a bike on Theos. We went on several really nice bike rides. Walking into new life. There she is. This is the Joy Patrol. And Kuthumi did the bike one. Off we go. Instead of the ego, though we go. All right. So thank you, ladies, for coming to Mexico, for sharing so much, for putting your heart, soul, cells, feet, hand, for putting it all into the materials. We did so well. I hope I do all the stuff you brought to Mexico justice when I put it into the books, into the videos online, into the Patreon page. You heard it there first. And two of those lovely ladies also did the event in January, which set the stage for how we were going to support the opening of Heaven's Cross. So, wow, holy crap. All right, so as we get into 2024, here's what you can expect. We're going to continue with our importance of the biocentric approach to embodied enlightenment. It's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing experience expression, which is a new energy glossary term. You're no longer expressing and experiencing your expression. Expression, experience, new energy. I was over at my friend's house and off the island. I live on an island here in Texas, and I was sleeping. I was spending the night over at a friend's house, and I was in what was called the land of the giants, and I realized it was like pre-Earth, like when we were dreaming up Earth and thinking about what kind of reality we would create. We kind of had like a testing ground, a testing Earth, and we created the land of the giants for the courageous souls like yourselves who decided to come and incarnate first. And the land of the giants was just this giant playground, and the colors were different from what we see today. And we didn't have like this dense flesh. You know, we'd pop in and we'd pop back out. We weren't getting stuck in a reincarnation cycle. You know, it was just for fun. But I was in the land of the giants, and I was like one of the giants, and I was playing, I was running, you know, it was so fun. And I was like, why am I here? And another giant looked at me and said, because we're remembering that this reality creation thing, it started out so innocently, right? So innocently. We were just playing and having fun, and it was light and innocent. And we want to remind you that's what reality creation is. So much so, people are terrified to create anything because of these energetic imprints, these intersections, and the electromagnetic grids of their divine blueprint have wounds from creating realities and seeing it go really, really wrong. Fall of Atlantis, I mean, floods in Lemuria. It's not just Atlantis, you know, there's all the traumas of all the, you know, intersections in the divine blueprint. And part of what we do here, we haven't done so much of it publicly, is in those divine blueprint one-on-one sessions, in the workshops. I've done it twice. It keeps evolving based on you. I'm doing it on the Patreon page, so it's more accessible to people who are not ready to do a really, really deep dive. Yet. We go into those energetic grids, and instead of like one by one piecing things together and unwounding things, right? You have the plasma of consciousness. The electromagnetic grids of your divine blueprint are held in by a fluid gravity that it's based on the reality in which the intersection occurred, right? So if you inject the plasma of consciousness into the electromagnetic grids of your divine blueprint, then you're really on that full BON, bond screen, the sovereign screen of creation in all your lifetimes, not just this one. It's a very kaleidoscopic experience, which we talk about in the fifth light body session, living the enigma, right? So we're in the kaleidoscope of it's all you and yours. And discernment is only like, which part do you want to play with today? It's not like, this isn't mine, hex, that's other people. Discernment really is, where do I want to place my sense of focus, my sense of awareness, and where do I want to play today? Instead of it being, trying to make enough boundaries to keep your separate self and its nice, neat little package, right? That's not what discernment or real boundaries are about. It's something totally different. It's creating fluidity and freedom. And discernment in this kaleidoscopic experience in your divine blueprint, which is all of creation experienced subjectively through your inadmittable I am consciousness. Your divine blueprint is all of creation experienced subjectively through your inadmittable I am consciousness, not through the personality of the human and intersections and lifetimes. So discernment in that case is really figuring out, where do I want to play with today? What kind of adventure are we going to have today? But after I went to the land of giants, something happened at a cellular level. So I didn't just have, I've had people tell me, I'm not interested in a mystical experience. My whole life is a mystical experience. However, I see what they're saying. They don't want to get lost in the clouds, but you have mystical experiences are great because it gives you an energetic imprint for new. And then your body can repattern and recode in this new potential that was presented through the mystical experience. So I had this mystical experience in the land of the giants, and then I felt into all the cells in the divine blueprint and my biology simultaneously. And I noticed that some of the cells felt angry. And I'm always talking about, I have non-violent cells. So I'm like, okay, some cells have been highlighted that are violent, that are not in non-violence. So I asked the cells, why are you so angry? And the cell said, because we're being forced to change. And I said, oh, that makes sense. I said, well, can you just allow the change, knowing that it's going to make us a more cohesive unit here in this new human species body? And the cells go, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. No big deal. And then I just felt this total release in all the cells, not just in the biology, but in the entire divine blueprint. And they just go, oh, okay, I won't be angry about changing anymore. It was like anger's not something I used to feel a lot of it. And it was really, really creative and helpful. I just moved a lot of stuff along, but I prefer to create in a nonviolent way now because that feels better to me, not because of right or wrong. It just feels better. I feel like I'm better with you guys. The less violence I have in the cells of my body, I feel better. Kuthumi says you poop better. It's so horrible. I'm so sorry. And yeah, so just really allowing the cells to go, oh, okay, I feel safe enough. And, to be willing to look at the parts of yourself that just haven't quite come along yet. Oh, there's a lot of anger in these cells. Let me go investigate that. Not like, oh, I did something wrong, got to take another course. No, it's just like, oh, disciplined curiosity, like Kuthumi always says. I feel anger in my cells. What's going on there? Right? Am I angry? No, I'm not angry. The cells are experiencing an anger type quality, right? So I'm going to go investigate it and ask non-critical, non-judgy questions to those cells. What is it I can do to support you here? This is the voice of God, dear cells. Is there something I can do to support you? And the cells say, we're afraid to change. God says, it's okay to change. It's how we become something new. And the cells go, okay, right? I mean, that's truly what self-inquiry and all, how I get where I am and share what I share is just that simple. It's being innocent and curious like a child. where a child just goes, huh, that's interesting. I wonder what that's about, because they don't have all the programming coming in yet. All right. So we're going to go into all those little micro adjustments from the macro perspective, not from the last human lifetime perspective. Our perspective is coming from the macro. It's coming from not being higher or lower, or finished or not finished, or staying or leaving. I'm both. I stayed and I left. I can't believe I spent any mental debate over a duality and not realizing I'm debating a duality right now. Staying past your expiration date is something I'd love to talk to you about at some point, though. Try to get through these slides. All right. So let me just tell you a little bit about the anatomy of light and our series that we'll have next year. So I know my head's over some of this. If you're on our newsletter, when I email the newsletter out, I am going to put a PDF of the slides in there so you can see these beautiful images without my head on top of them. Sorry, Deneen. So Deneen has a Instagram account called Porch Samadhi Creations. She uses an artificial intelligence software app to create these images. And so that's the full story. And I asked Deneen last month to do 5 of these for our Anatomy of Light series. So she did. And it's her take on each one. So it's beautiful. I did my own, but I thought it'd be nice to include someone else's stuff in this video satsang. So the mind of the magus, I'm not gonna give a lecture on each one. The temptation is there. The temptation is there to give you an hour-long lecture on each one. Oh man, I want to. But I'm not. I'm going to keep it real simple. So the mind of the magus is really at its core a return to innocence in the mind. And it's about nos, that knowingness, it literally, and this is the mind, the subtle body mind, not the physical brain. The mind of the magus, nos replaces, knowingness replaces the mind and how its old functions of likes and dislikes, preferences, agenda outcomes, which just could be like, I want to not be sick. That's an agenda. I know it's so bizarre because we live in a world totally of likes and dislikes and preferences and wow, it's hard to fathom. But we did put a 40-minute really simple video on the mind of the magus on our Patreon page for the low price of $11 per month. You can support us and get that video. All right, so the mind of the magus, a return to the innocence. I love this image because in the Magic Mind event, which Kuthumi and I have up for free or by donation, we talked about the tangled jungle of the mind and neuroplasticity and a variety of other things. So that's on the website under core courses. But that's what Deneen's beautiful image reminds me of. I just love it. All right, the second thing we talked about was in the Theos event, the anatomy of light, is the heart of the magus. And Yogananda, who showed up for me after my realization and started walking me through some things, I do not channel him, but he has taught me a few things and I piece it all into our work. But he told me that in 2018, that energy and consciousness coalesce in the heart. And I had come from a space where it's like, we don't have feelings. I had a partner who refused to say, I love you because that was dumb. I say it to everybody all the time now because it's real. It's real. And I understand why we put love and light away because it was fake. And, there's nothing worse than fake love and light. Ugh, I get it. But I always knew that there was a real kind of love, right? And it was human and divine. It can't just be divine and it can't just be human. But I knew there was a new energy, love. And 10 years ago, 10 years ago on New Year's Eve, 2013, I went to a manifestation ceremony at a crystal store in Austin, Texas. I was at a crystal store in Austin, Texas on New Year's Eve, 2013, going into 2014, and they did a manifestation ceremony. And I've told you guys this multiple times, but I don't care. And they gave us these candles and we had to, put what we wanted. I never lit the candle, by the way, what we wanted on a piece of paper. And I wrote, and they had asked us, what do we want to manifest, right? What do we want to experience in physical form, which is what manifestation means, experiencing it in physical form. And I wrote, the love Jesus had for himself and all others. Did realization give me that? Nope. Did I think it was possible? 99% nope. But that 1% that did believe it was possible, I nourished it. I nourished it. I gave it a few drops of water here and there. I forgot to water it for many years, especially after realization. I forgot to water it because I was realized if it wasn't happening in that realization, it wasn't going to happen. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Anyhow, I watered it and I dumped a lot of crap compost on it, this manifestation goal at the crystal store. And I didn't start experiencing it until this year, 10 years later. Changes everything. To feel safe, to love again. And when this opened for me here, all of a sudden, my relationships with everybody else changed. It turns out it was me. It wasn't them, it was me. It's not you, it's me turned into it's me, not you. All of a sudden, my mom is not annoying anymore and she's doing her best and I love being around her. All of a sudden. And my neighbors are beautiful and the neighbors' kids and the neighbors' dogs are constantly over here at my house. The problems I had with, the surf lineup, which is quite political, and just as nasty as the place where I studied energy and consciousness. All of a sudden, it's not a problem anymore. It was all me. Oh, every single little problem where I wasn't feeling love was all me. And then as a result, someone else a beautiful, beautiful being who already felt all this love that Yeshua had for himself and all of humanity, came into my life with his dog. I have my dog, he has his dog, and all of a sudden my heart shifted and then I could see this person who I've seen almost every day, often, or, every week here and there. I saw him for the first time and they could finally see me for the first time. And I love my mom and I love all of you. And it sounds really stupid and cheesy, but it's real. That's what I want to tell you. It's real. And the way that I got into my heart was by retraining my head, right? Every time my mind wanted to make something about this person did this or the other people or they should do this or what's not going right over here. I just was never ending retraining my mind, doing the work, asking it questions. Well, where do you think this thought came from? Having opinions and strong preferences and stuff, I didn't do it to become more enlightened. I did it because it's like, I don't want to live like this anymore. And I didn't realize when I was doing all this work with questioning the thoughts and really feeling out why I still think there's other people out there. I mean, really, like I was asking myself this, like, and I would get upset and righteous about things and because they were true. I can't believe so and so did this. And they're still true in that reality, but the only one who suffers in that situation is me. If I get upset about something I can't change, the only person who suffers is me. I'm back in the AA 12-step program. Grant me the serenity, right? To accept the things I cannot change. But those little mental battles, I did the work on those because I just wanted, the contrast was staggering. Right after realization, I had a very empty mind again. And then just being on earth, it starts to fill up. And to detoxify it, I had to do a lot of self-inquiry. I'm like really understanding where these thoughts and separations and they, them, those come from. And I didn't realize the byproduct would be this hard. Yeah. And going from the wound to the vulnerability. You need vulnerability to create because vulnerability means you don't know how something's going to turn out and you have no agenda and you feel naked, a turtle with no shell and ooh, right? But and Kutumi's like, and that's how you open to the highest P, is being vulnerable. So really understanding that and understanding that the wound gave birth. The wounds give birth to the vulnerability. The wounds bring the empathy to the compassion. The human empathy goes with the consciousness compassion. And you have this compassion empathy that Yeshua had, right? Because he was in human form, so he knew what it felt like. So he had empathy. But he also had his consciousness and the compassion of understanding everybody's choosing exactly what they need to experience, right? You have both. And Yeshua had both in that sacred heart of his. And I really wanted that experience more than anything. And I have it now, and it really has changed everything. And, I sound like a corny, cheesy person, but it's so much more dynamic than it's coming across. All right. All right. The spine of the magus. Again, my head's over this beautiful artwork. It's going to be in the PDF slides posted on the newsletter and on the Patreon page. The spine of the magus is the wand of the magus. God lives in your spine. Consciousness flows up and down the spinal column, right? And it starts to reach the bloodstream and the oxygen stream and, the endocrine system, all the different systems that are going in your body through something called the pia mater, which is like a cellophane wrap membrane around the spine. So this is something that Yogananda taught to me. And we talk about the pia mater in the first light body sessions, which are online for no paywall, which means it's free if you need it to be or by donation if you can, because we don't want that to stop anybody from experiencing our materials. But we go deeper into it in the new human database that I've been working on with Kuthumi. We haven't even started the calls for that. We do next month, but we already have like some more spine magus videos out, and we just got the transcript for that. Thank you, Eminem. You're lovely. And yeah, so we'll be going into that as well. All right. The nervous system, right? We talked about the third nervous system. We have it in the Divine Blueprint materials. We have it in the Samadhi course. Yeah, so we're going to do that. And the nervous system in our materials includes the physical brain, right? So the mind of the magus and the brain of the magus would be two different things. And we'll go into the intricacies and delicacies of those things in our new human database next year. But really, this is about having a nervous system that's beyond duality. And because it's beyond duality, cause and effect being the biggest duality sometimes that we're up against, it's agendaless, right? There's the program of fight or flight, rest or digest, becomes a cohesive nervous system, which you're not oscillating between the two. And this nervous system is where reality creation happens, which I did not tell Deneen in asking her to make this video, this artwork piece, this artificial intelligence generated artwork piece. But she really got it anyway, right? So the nervous system is the third nervous system, or a nervous system beyond duality, is really where realities are created through embodied enlightenment. Yeah, and the nervous system is very much in an embodied being. The nervous system is very much a representation of the energetic grids, electromagnetic grids, horizontal and vertical, in your divine blueprint. And that map of your divine blueprint is in your nervous system, right? And then the consciousness from the spine, plasma enters the enters the electromagnetic grids of your divine blueprint to create the third circle of creation. Yeah. You know, I could lecture on this for I could sit here for 18 hours, taking a bathroom break. I'm not going to do that. All right. And then the final body part. I feel like we're in that operation game, the board game operation. Maybe you guys some of you are too young to even know what a board game is. Not sure. All right. It's like a retro thing, like ugly Christmas sweaters. I don't know. The feet of the magus, right? This is really about the impetus to act. The impetus to act is something that's very, very interesting, because you're not acting from a separated ego identity, right? Where it's like, realized Lauren in her last lifetime went to try to buy a house because that's what realized beings do. They have nice houses, and it didn't work out. It's like, that was my consciousness. And that's the first chapter there of the Magus book, my life falling apart after realization. Because let's be honest, that's what happens. And my consciousness was saying, hey, you know too much. This is not how we create. We're creating a different way. We're doing a new thing. Can you not perceive it, dear Realize Lauren? Realize Lauren's like, okay. Right. So the impetus to act comes from this deep, deep space inside of you. No space, where the actor and the observer are one. Yeah. So we'll get into that, the feet of the magus. So I want to talk about the funny thing, the funny side of sovereignty. That's like the sunny side of the egg, the funny side of sovereignty. You know, for so many people, for so many people, Kuthumi has been challenging me on this for quite some time. My concept of sovereignty, my experience and expression of sovereignty is constantly changing. It's not something that is written in stone. So for so many people that I have worked with, and myself who I work with, you got to rearrange some stuff. You got to meditate. It's just good hygiene. Meditating just means sitting with what is and understanding when the cells are angry and not angry. And, if you're totally shut off in your tunnel vision, you don't know that the cells are angry. You got to let it come up to the surface. So for so many, sovereignty requires the illusion of space, separateness. I'll sit on Angel's Peak and the rest of the world's down there. People think they're operating in a vacuum, or nothing they do impacts anyone else, or vice versa. I'm in my lane, You're in your lane. We're souls on a journey. You're having your soul journey experience here, and on a, right. Really helpful until it's not. Yet understanding, like really truly becoming aware of and understanding sovereignty requires the experience expression of total unity of all. This is the big one, right? The objective one. We're not going to get lost in it. People are terrified they're going to get lost in it. You are not going to lose the subjectivity. You are an inadmittable, cannot be copied, cannot be described, cannot be defined. Do not define yourself. Being of light, right? So you're not going to get lost in oneness. Understanding sovereignty requires the experience expression of total unity of all, right? And you get into that total unity of all, and it's in this unity that we can truly discover our autonomy. Working with Kuthumi and Yogananda and you all, and being open and having everybody in my house in Mexico, our house in Mexico, and this whole seeing another person as a sovereign being and the interconnectedness of it, and knowing how I perceive that, all the beautiful kaleidoscopic living the enigma. It's not really a paradox anymore. It becomes an enigma, and then it'll become something new. The paradox becomes an enigma, and then the enigma becomes the this, and this becomes, fluidity, right? So it is in this unity, in the oneness, that we can truly discover our autonomy, that discernment of what am I going to play with inside my body of consciousness today, understanding that inner and outer worlds are the same, right? There's no separation between inner and outer, and therefore there's no other people. It's very, the mind kind of has to be trained, and it's I hate to say it, but it's a practice to question those thoughts in the mind that put you somewhere separate, right? Because we can ignore the mind, we can go beyond the mind, but eventually it's going to have to stretch and snap back into place. And that took me some practice. And I sit down every day and I examine what's going on in there, in that subtle body, right, called mind. It's not in the physical body. It's in the subtle body called mind. What's going on in my causal body? What's going on in my emotional body? Subtle bodies. We do that in the 365 days of light. I got to tell you, if you do the 365 days of light, which you can buy our product or you can just do it yourself, if you feel into the biological body and the light body every day, crap's going to come up. And that's how the energy is coded. That's how you return to innocence. It's work. You feel into your light body, and every human being on planet Earth has a light body, and everybody has a bio body. When you feel into both simultaneously and they begin to connect, crap's going to come up to the surface, right? And so do that for 365 days, everything will change. Right. But if oh, I'm not feeling anything, the reason you're not feeling anything is because you're not letting all the subconscious stuff come up. Yeah. Right. Which is where the grace comes in, which is something we'll be talking about on the Patreon page and our other work, how the unknown becomes known. A little note on sovereignty. Oh, I got to go back here, because this impetus to act is also where divine confidence comes from, right? Confidence. We talked about that in the February satsang. We talked about a lot of stuff in the February satsang. It got buried in Q&A sessions about a celestial event. And so I'm going to include some of the February satsang at the end of this one to talk about the DNA. DNA is how the light body and the bio body connect and create the new human species. That change, that adaptation happens in the DNA. But all of this, right? And this impetus to act, when you discover where it comes from for yourself and by yourself, I'm not going to tell you where it comes from. You got to figure it out. When the impetus to act, when you have no agenda, where does that come from? It's also the same space where your confidence comes from. And the confidence is that spine of God, right? The consciousness is the spine of God. It's divine will expressing itself through the vessel of your embodied beingness, through the body of consciousness, being a vessel for the will of God, life moving through you. But Kuthumi uses the symbol of the pineapple fruit as the symbol for confidence because of the spine of the pineapple. The pineapple has a very sturdy, long spine. Anyhow, let's see where we went. All right. Yep. Funny side of sovereignty, the sunny side of sovereignty. We talked about this in the era of the Magus too. It's in the book. There's a video on it, on sovereignty being a pillar of the Magus, and the sovereignty being the sovereign one. Sovereignty from a space of unity in your divine blueprint and with all of creation. You really have to accept all of humanity, and you have to accept Earth to be in that. You can't separate yourself from humanity, those other peoples, or worse, using that M word. Oof, never liked it, never will. Makes me feel nauseous. But if you're worried about what other humans are doing and everything else, and instead of just like, you don't push them away, you bring it all in, because there's nothing you haven't lived, done, said, experienced. And it's really understanding, that from that space, you create peace on earth. Like once you can see that if you're not at the end of suffering, not only are you suffering, but you're also creating wars on earth through your suffering. Your suffering impacts the world greatly. Like once you see that, you cannot unsee it. And then you have to do the work because you realize you care. You realize you care about humanity and earth. And then you love it. You love it. You love earth. Remember when you were in grade school and someone would be like, you have a crush on Ben. You have a crush on Ben. You'd be like, no, I don't like Ben. I don't like Ben. Even though deep down you were like madly in love with Ben. That's how you guys feel about Earth and humanity. You really, really, really have a crush on it. All right. So the framework we're going to be working with in all of our programs that contain Kuthumi, which is all of our programs, we are going to talk about this in this framework. Known knowns, things we are aware of and we understand. I would say that self-realization is something that I am aware of and that I understand. Known unknowns, things we are aware of and do not understand. I am aware that we are creating a new human species. However, I do not quite understand it yet, right? But there used to be a time when, realization of the new human species were way down at the bottom here, unknown unknowns, right? So we're talking about these things in a fluid way, not in a strong barrier category way. That's Kuthumi. So then we also have the unknown knowns, things we understand but are not aware of, right? I understand that this exists in the world, but I'm not aware of it within myself yet. Right? We get a concept from somebody we trust, from a channel information, and that concept is okay. We can understand that concept from what they shared, but we're not aware of it within our body of consciousness and our direct experience yet. Unknown unknowns are things we are neither aware of nor understand, right? At the beginning of my awakening, I didn't really know there was a thing called realization. I didn't know there was anything beyond my own soul, right? And I was like, okay, so things move up the ladder, right? From unknown unknowns to known knowns. Subconscious, right? It's not that you don't know something, it's just that it's buried deep in the subconscious, right? Which just means subconscious, like you're not conscious of yet, right? But things are moving up. I mean, I did that Return of the Realm Walker channel in August of 2022. And I was just sitting in meditation, feeling into myself of what's going on. And I just saw all these realm walkers returning to Earth, you know? And instead of making it like a mission for me to share this message, we're all coming back, I just knew that if you are a realm walker, you're conscious enough to know what's going on. I'm not going to talk to you like you're a baby. So we recorded the channel. I recorded the channel with Sarah, you know, and she showed me in the Divine Blueprint all the my realm walker pieces coming back. There was more than one at different realities. And she showed me others doing that. And so we recorded a channel where I gave the experience of what it looks like to be a realm walker and return. And I did that through meditation. I tapped into, I was like, what is really going on in my divine blueprint right now? And that realm walker thing came up. A month later, you know, or 2 months later, there it was in another space, and it was made a big to-do about, and there were, you know, so many videos and questions and answers and whatever else. And I'm not saying that's not helpful, right? But the best way to get into these unknown unknowns is to have the experience. And then you can come talk to your friends like Kuthumi and myself and whatever, rather than it coming down from a concept that someone else hands you, tells you how it's going. It just doesn't have enough room for the full exposure to what it is. So Kuthumi and I are going to talk about the dynamics of what moves things from unknown knowns to known knowns. And what moves it is grace, right? And for me, grace is found in those little moments. Every time my mind wants to say, those people did this, I go, no, right? We're going to make a leap here. That's those little moments of grace, right? That return choice, the return of choice to, I'm automatically reacting to an external environment, which is how this body was programmed to do, right? To, I'm going to pause, see what's going on, and respond consciously, which just means from a space of choice, not from a space of this is the right way or this is the wrong way, but like, what am I choosing? Right? So discernment would be an internal navigation, right? Discernment in the other world would be discerning that those people are not you, right? That's discernment in a relative reality, which is really just a judgment. But a discernment in the internal compass navigation, you know, changing the wind in your sails is choosing how to respond from a space of actual choice rather than automation. Also in the Patreon 40-minute video, right? But moving through these things, you know, how to do that on your own. So we're going to do that in all of the materials that we work through. Every day I meet a new unknown, which makes it become an unknown known or a known unknown, right? Every day something comes up and I go, oh, I was neither aware of that, nor did I understand it. I'm learning how new energy works. So if unknown unknowns are not rising up to the surface, then I'm in old energy. And then my mind is taken over. It's no longer empty and innocent. It's mean. The human mind is wired to be mean. Kindness is a choice. Wow. I didn't realize how mean it was. I thought I had like a kind of a scratchy personality. Turns out it was just that mean mind. My personality is not like that at all. Oh, how funny. All right. Ways to play with us next year. Unraveling Realization has sold out. I'm very excited to do that with Aaliyah and all of you. The New Human Database, Anatomy of Light. We are going to meet monthly. There are 4 call time options. All the recordings will be available to you. So you can hear from somebody other than me and Kuthumi. You can hear from your peers in consciousness. And I take copious notes while listening to you all talk, and it goes into the books. So we have 3 spaces of 40 left there. I'm almost done with my selling season. Nobody dislikes it more than me selling you things. I would just like to sit here, record, and put everything I know into the technology and into your living rooms. But that's not how it works. Capitalism. Yay. It's better than socialism. Boo, we tried that in Atlantis. All right. I'm still doing the one-on-one divine blueprint sessions. I can do about 2 of those a month. And I really work closely with people in there, and I'm a really good listener. We are going to do the Divine Blueprint workshop again online in August of 2024. The Rhythm of Further book is in the editing stages, and Sarah Manning, who edited the last 2 books, is editing this one. And I read it, send it to her, she sends it back, I read it again. So I've been going through all the Rhythm of Further materials, which is how we supported the opening of Heaven's Cross, the gateway for new energy, Christ consciousness to land on earth, as Kuthumi called it in January 2021 on his short video that he made me find in the middle of the night and put up on our YouTube shorts section. So there you go. Anyhow, I'm going through it again, and I get something new from it every time I read it. Yeah. And Sarah said the same thing as she's reading it. She was like, wow, you get something different and new every time. And you think, did I miss something? And it's like, no, the words are actually switching around. It's bizarre. This is going to be a full color book. It has links. It has artwork. It has conversations, bits of conversation from other people in the Sovereign Collective. So it has more voices than just Kuthumi and I. I mean, it always contains all your voice because we're channeling you too, but we actually have the direct words. Keiko wrote a chapter, Nancy's writing a chapter, KK wrote a chapter. So there's Jen of NYC is picking out the parts of the conversations. Leah transcribed a lot of, I mean, it's a whole thing. Then I'll go to GAM for formatting. Welcome to the behind the scenes. We got a lot of people working on stuff back here. I got to tell you, Patreon is open for all anytime. I'm going to keep the price low unless you want to do more stuff in there. It allows us to pay for our staff. It allows us to pay for so many things. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I have a ton of content to put on there. So it's like, I'm really careful about how many times I email you guys on the newsletter. And I'm really careful about how many videos I upload because I don't want to be too much. I don't know, maybe I should let that go. But in Patreon, I'm just loading it up all the time, loading it up with stuff. And I'd much rather share there than on social media because you guys want to be there. You're not looking for something to make fun of. I swear people just scroll so they can agree with something and get righteous about it, or they can get angry about something, or they can make fun of somebody through sarcasm. It's like if you're in the Patreon page, I know you want to be there. I know you want to read the materials, and I read every single comment and I reply to every single comment because that's where I'd rather spend my time. And each comment I'm learning from you. So it's really, really helpful, and it helps us pay our staff. Okay. Oh, there's an in-person event. I'm not sure yet. Maybe another one in Mexico. Teresa's mentioned something about doing something in Vienna, Austria. I really need feedback on that. I would do in-person events all the time. I just, there has to be people to sign up. So, I mean, everybody who's come to an in-person event is incredible. But there just hasn't been a whole lot of interest. But I'll do one. I would do one next week, if someone wanted me to. But I did 3 in-person events this year, and I had a hard enough time filling those up. So yeah, I just put it on hold, and I'll do it again if somebody wants to come. So I'd like to do another one in Texas on kayaks, sailing, kayaking, like on the water. Yeah. So that's just an idea. Yeah, and there's a whole year of playing in the P's in 2023 videos on, if you look on YouTube playlists, it's there. I think a lot of them just, I don't want to say they went in the trash, but they went by the wayside because there were so many loud things last year that the quiet things didn't get heard, but they're still relevant and they're still good. So there's that. Thank you. Thank you to Sarah Manning, Editing the Rhythm of Further, and the last 2 books on Insane Timelines. Jen of NYC, Transcribing Conversations Create, Content Support. Aaliyah, Transcribing, Video Editing, Creating, Co-Creating, Editing, Listening to my voicemails in the middle of the night. Teresa, thanks for your support on the Audible book project. We're hoping to get things into Audible form, and project support and management, trying to help us get off the ground. Thank you, Teresa. Gam, book formatting genius, plus damn solid friend. Thank you. M&M, transcription lady of the Anatomy of Light materials. We all bow in your honor. Can't be easy. Can't be easy. And Jess is back. Jess is back. God, I need a whole angelic choir to sing, Jess is back. Jess took some time off, and now she's back to do the new energy glossary and 5,000 other really, really important things. Jess is a paid staff member, and a lot of everybody here is volunteer. But I mean, thank God Jess can hear Kuthumi. Because it's like, she's like, I'm gonna come back. And she said that like November 30th, and on December 2nd, the next day, Kuthumi emailed her a list of 50 thanks to 2. Oh my goodness. So Jess is back. M&M, transcription lady. Guillaume, book formatting. Teresa, Aaliyah, doing a million different things. Jen. Woo. I'm missing somebody. That's why I'm reading the list again. I'm missing somebody. Anyhow, Kuthumi and I say, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. You're amazing. And I know that we work you to death. So thank you. Can't be easy to work with us. All right. So I have been going through the archives with Kuthumi to work on some things. And he suggested I put the DNA clip, since the DNA is what connects the light body to the biological body, creating the new human species. I'm going to put a highlight of that February 2023 video right behind here. I'm learning how to do this on my own. Imagine that. All right. We are Sarah Kuthumi, and you, the beautiful beings here on earth, and therefore we are love with all of you because we are you, creating this new human species. Merry, Merry Christmas. Happy Christ consciousness. All holidays, if you celebrate them. We missed Hanukkah. We don't know what the rest are. Oh, it's Kwanzaa. All of them, all the light celebrations. And we will see you on the new year, 2024, January 5th, for the first Unraveling Realization call, and our first new energy database call will be the 22nd. So January 5th, we have our first Unraveling Realization call. You're all on an email segment. So organized here. It's so organized. And on the 22nd, we have the new human species call, and I will be sending all those call options out for that whole week to all of you who are signed up. And yeah, we'll see you next year and enjoy this next clip. Thank you so much for all of your support this year. Amazing. It's lovely to know you. Lovely to know you. Thing after realization is to be teachable. Chapter 1 in the era of the Magi series. It's just the codes are coming out of me into this book. And God, how nice is it for me to have Kuthumi to hang around and say, you know, course correct. It's like I'm going down this way and he'll go, put on the brakes. You know, and then I can do that for you. And we're all just walking each other home and there's no hierarchy. As I'm telling you this, as I talked about how Kuthumi just goes, you know, I'll be going one way and he's like, and he'll take me by the shoulders and go, look over here, 8-degree turn. As I'm talking to you about it, it feels light and fluffy. Literally, as I'm sitting here talking to you, the DNA, the coded hierarchy in the DNA is rewriting itself. Think about how many problems on Earth are caused by the DNA program of hierarchy. Respect your elders, even though they're totally energetic feeding assholes. You know, you can feel into how hierarchy has really impacted the earth, and then you can feel into Kuthumi and I sharing with you, and the DNA strand opens up. So I was laying in the bathtub last night, you know, but Kuthumi's like, go back. Okay, so we have been incarnating in this standard biological form for so long that we've labeled it natural, right? So we think of this biology as natural, the fight or flight response in the nervous system as natural. But there's nothing really that natural about the standardized human form. It's just been a vehicle to experience Earth, other people, community, family, ancestry, etc. So the reason I'm telling you this is not to bash it, because bashing things doesn't work. We know that. That's more hierarchy. You know, I call it I have a character I call the Chamber Caveman. Standardized form, bad. Light body, good. You know, it's so beyond that, right? So when you start tapping into being the new human species, which is you're not even feeling into your light body anymore. It's there. Accept it as there and move on. But as you sit in it long enough, the biology and the light body combined form this new human species. And then next thing you know, you're laying in the bathtub rewriting your DNA codes, right? But it feels very natural to me now to rewrite the DNA codes. But when I first started feeling the consciousness and the light body and my I am consciousness, which is not soul, the I am consciousness is not soul. When I started to feel that, it felt very unnatural at first, right? Because I had been programmed to feel, think, know, see that the standardized biology was natural, and it's not. It was both evolution and creationism. It was both altered through consciousness and through technology or automation, right? So you need to, what I had to do was to realize when things felt foreign, counter to my human intuition that said, don't go there, don't go in there, it's weird, it doesn't feel good. I had to go bypass the intuition, go to the knowingness that this foreign feeling was actually my true creator nature. And there's nothing more natural, or even there's nothing really that natural beyond your true creator nature of I am consciousness. So going beyond that foreign, don't go there. My intuition says it's not safe. It's so counterintuitive. You have to tap into that Gnostic knowingness. Again, Kuthumi and I are going to post our Gnostic knowingness video, which is the 4th light body session. There's a chapter of it in here. Imagine that. It's near. Imagine that. So you have to go past that foreign feeling to get where you're going here.